Hello. Let me know if you can hear me in the chat. Nice to see everyone here. There we go. I hide some of the messages if I don't have it set to live chat. Oh, yay. You guys can hear me. Okay, cool. Hi there, Dennis and Brian. Nice to see ya. Alexis, pleasure as always. Oh, Queen Victor, I was wondering if you were going to be here. I thought about it. I was like, I'm kind of going a little bit late. I wonder if they're going to be able to make it. Hi, Joanna. Nice to see you, and Braden. And Emily, of course. Wonderful to have you here. Yeah. Oh, hi, Chastity. Hello. That's a new person here we have. Met her at the conference. Oh, now I'm just going to try and settle into what it is I'm going to say, because I'll tell you what, I have just been overthinking so much lately. Like, I have all these things that I'm thinking about all the time. I've been like kind of obsessive on a subject lately, so I've been like in research mode. So it's kind of hard to like take myself out of that to do stuff like this and just to remember, like, okay, well, what happened a week ago? What happened a week ago? It was only a week ago. It was only a week ago. Like, I was flying home from the conference last Friday. I was at Cahokia Mounds last Friday. It feels like a lifetime ago already. It was like I got jolted back into reality pretty much within a couple hours of leaving. It was like, oh my God. Oh, hi, River Speak. Nice to see you here. Oh, hi, Brad M. And Jera. Nice to see you. Oh, hi. I have some new people in here. Oh, yeah. I'm excited to tell about how the conference went, Queen Victor. I'm very excited. Well, I mean, it went great. It went great, but we kind of knew it was going to go great based on the tarot spreads that we did for it. I thought it was really funny because for some reason, the sun card just stuck out in my mind so much. It's like, that's all I can even remember right now, which usually is not like me. Usually I can remember all three cards that we pulled for things and reflect on them as I'm going through the event or whatever like that. But for me, the only thing that stood out to me was the sun. And I noticed that, as I was on my way to the conference, two songs kind of rolled in. And one was called Evening Sun, and the other one was called Life is Simple in the Moonlight. So it was like this theme of reflections and sunlight shining on things and showing you things. And it was beautiful. That's the thing I noticed the most. You know what? Excuse me. I got to get my water. But it was literally beautiful. It was, okay, compared to last year. Last year the weather was cold and rainy. And like we had to wear like winter clothes and stuff like that. It was freezing at the bonfire at night. But this year it was sunny and warm, like perfectly warm every single day. Like not too hot, not too cold. Ooh, hold on a second, guys. I'm saying something. Chat disconnected. Okay, it's back again though. It's back. Hello there, White Swan and a hopeful art. Nice to see you guys. So as I was saying though, it was sunny literally the whole time, and it just stood out to me. Like everything, like the moments where I was like with the people that I loved and cared about the most, having the most enjoyable time. The sun and the sunlight just, it stuck out to me because a lot of times we were all outside on the balcony. And oh my gosh, the speakers were great too. But I'll be honest with you guys, like I told myself this year that I was just going to do what I wanted to do, and I was only going to go to the presentations that I really wanted to go to because we have access to the live stream. So I am going to go and rewatch some of the live stream, some of the speakers that I didn't end up seeing. But the ones that I did, like the one that I think that I enjoyed the most, quite honestly, was Jessica Jones and Barry Littleton. Hi, Chris. Nice to see you. He was there. All right. So, yeah, Jessica Jones and Barry Littleton, their information, like it kept me like glued to the screen. the whole time. I don't know. I just love Jessica Jones' energy too. She's got a great personality, really kind, funny, you know. So I really, really liked being around them a lot. I had a really great time with them. Let's see some of the other things that happened. I'm trying to think of some of the other, if there was, like, if I would say, was this year better than last year? You know, like, yeah, I would say it was. I mean, it was a great time last year. Don't get me wrong, it was. But for me, um, the energy of it was, it felt, gosh, what is the word I'm looking for it? It felt more like I was meant to be there. You know what I'm saying? Like a family, like a family gathering, like feeling safe, feeling comfortable. Like this is what real life is. This is what life is supposed to be like, you know. And then you have to go back home. Like we all have to go to our respective places where we're basically like, I don't know how it is but from what I've heard, it seems like most people have the experience of like not having a bunch of like-minded people around them in their community, and that is certainly true for me. Certainly true for me. But I got some really cool gifts here to show you guys. I don't know if she's not going to pop into the chat today, but Sandra Smith, she usually comes into my chats a lot, and she and I met up there. She ended up staying with my friend Scott Savoy in their Airbnb, which was amazing. They had a party there on Wednesday, and it was a lot of fun. You know, I loved all the outfits that I was wearing. I will tell you, though, that the high heels did make my legs swell up really bad. But so I ended up having to just kind of take it easy for the last couple days. But it was all right because, you know, I could just relax out in the sunshine on the balcony and hang out with various people. And I really hope that, and I do know too that they already said that the lodge was bugging them to book their dates, to lock it down, their dates for next year. And so I think they're going to have another one next May, because the lodge basically told Aaron and Tyler that they're their favorite event group to come through. And and the hotel was really, really nice too. You know, like they're really chill, really laid back. You know, I guess the only really big crazy thing that happened that I think, you know, just to keep in mind for next year, guys, that they did have some cops that seemed to be sitting outside of the lodge waiting to pull people over if they got a chance, if they did anything. Like, even if they didn't, like, I know someone that got pulled over that they didn't even have a really good excuse, and they pulled them over. And they pulled us over, and they literally searched the entire car. This was for they said we ran a stop sign. And so they made us all get out. We were outside in the sun for an hour, and they searched the car thoroughly, went through every single thing, my entire purse. They kept trying to find stuff like it wasn't like nothing. Okay, like some herbs and stuff like that. And they're like, "What is this?" You know, like, "Miss, can you explain what this is to me?" Like, I had a little fragrance rock. Okay, it was like this incense that you can put on yourself. And they're like, "Can you explain to me what this is?" I'm like, "It's fragrance, you know." Okay. So they even gave Sandra, they gave her a hard time about her medications. This woman had a bottle of pills, and she had it all labeled. Oh, you see it. She had it all labeled. And they were like, "Could you pull up your prescription list on the Walgreens apps to prove to us that this is your prescriptions?" Like, wow. They were really sadistic. So that was really the only downfall, I would say. The only bad part of the conference was that incident, and the fact that I had like this huge bad panic attack afterward. Ooh, it was not fun. But, you know, because it was like that frightening experience. It's just so jarring, you know. But anyway, to get back to some of the fun stuff, I did get some cool gifts. So I'm going to show you guys what I got now. Okay. Sandra gave me this, which is a little finger puppet owl, obviously. But you know what is really funny about this is that I got a finger puppet there last year. Okay. And at the very last moment, I brought the finger puppet with me. So I had two finger puppets there, and this was my other one. The mantis guy. I like this guy. Doot. So yes, I got those cool things. And my good friend Emily, she actually got me the Blue Fairy book, which is really funny because when I was on Order of Light with Robert Earl White on his channel, and we did an interview, this was actually one of the books that he pulled from to ask me questions about being the Blue Fairy, you know. So it actually it was, you know, significant that she got this for me. I was really happy with that. And also I got this really cool nest that I got from Jim Koala, Tyler's dad. You can kind of see in there that that's actually a real egg in there. And then this little guy, this little stone guy here. I like that a lot. It's really cool. Okay, I'm trying to think. I know there was one more thing I was going to talk about real quick and then get into some of the other stuff. Okay, so, you know, I guess the one other thing that I wanted to show people, you know, I told you guys that I had put some other items in the creation spread right before I left. Okay, and it was quite a few little things here and there. But yesterday, or 2 days ago now, Matthew Mornian was talking about one of the gifts that I gave him on his stream. And it really is a cool gift. Okay. It was I came up with it and I was like, oh man, that would be like really, really sweet. I don't know. I just feel like this person's, you know, they're really going to like this gift. And it was a crow's wing. Okay. But the thing is, you know, crows have 2 wings. So I got the second one for the crow medicine. Isn't this beautiful? Oh, I love it so much. So cool. Anyway, so is there any other details that I want to mention? You know, I guess I just mentioned the people that I have. Oh yeah, there is one more. My friends, my spirit children, basically. Like I kind of took them on, like, I don't know. They're my children to me. Okay, their names are Tyra and Sevi, and she sells crystals, and he basically makes music, and I just absolutely love them. I met them at Camp Disclosure 2 years ago, and we really connected and we hit it off. And they come from a really hard background, you know, and it just touched my heart and we made a connection. And so now, you know, when we meet up, you know, it's like a little family reunion. And when I'd first, you know, when part of what I do when I go to these events is I take these dragonfly pins. I usually only get one. It's part of what goes in the creation spread. And I give them to whoever stands out, like that my heart is moved to say, okay, give it to this person. Okay. And so when I went to Camp Disclosure that year, I'd actually had I had two pins actually I'd brought with me instead of the usual one. So I'd given them the dragonfly pins, and they actually had their house burned down this past winter or whatever, and the dragonfly pins had burned, and so they had lost their pins. And it just so happens that I brought 3 pins this year. So they got their pins back, and I will definitely, I can't wait to see them again. I hope they're doing well. I had a great time. I had a great time with everyone, guys. I just hope that the people who couldn't make it out there this year find a way and find a chance to make it there next year, because it's being with your soul family is like the most realest thing. It's the most real life, I feel like, when you experience it and you're like, oh, this is what it's supposed to feel like, you know, to be a community, to be a tribe. And it can be a little hard. It can be a little hard coming back from those. It can be hard. I know for me personally, I have definitely been struggling. I definitely have been struggling with it. It's, you know, because I just miss being around everyone in that way. I miss that feeling of being comfortable to be myself. That's what it is. You're safe to be who you really are, and to show those parts of yourself that you normally can't to people. And so when you get pulled away from that and you don't have that same level of interaction with a group of people back where you live, it can be kind of, gosh, what's the word for it? Grieving? That's the word for it. Grief. grief. Yeah, hi, Karen. Karen was there too. Had a great time with her. And with Chris too. He was part of the group that I hung out with the most. It was like Chris and Matthew and Honora and Emily and Robert Earl White and Barry and oh gosh, who else was it? There, I met CJ. I don't know his last name. I don't know how to say it. Oh, he had a really good story though. He's been on Journey to Truth before. His name's CJ Hesley, I think it is. Daryl James. Did I mention Daryl James already? He was like just hanging out with the group and ended up taking some really cute pictures and stuff like that. But these people were really like just great to be around, great energy to be around. And I look forward to doing that again. Like I said, I hope you guys make it there. So let's go ahead. I hope I didn't forget anything. I feel like I always do this to myself. Like I try to remember it all, but yeah, the farther you get away from it, you know, it's like those little things, they start to slip away. You know, they start to slip away. And so I told myself I was going to journal it. And I was going to like remember like the good things because there were so many. There were so many. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. I remember one more thing. All right. Yeah. Because at one point, like this is how great it felt. Like, so it feels so good being around other people that are like you and that you love, to where it just shines. It just shines through. I even had someone call me out at one of the bonfires. A friend of ours, his name is Barry Everson, and he was like, "Wow, you really look happy. You look really happy." You know, and it kind of embarrassed me for a second. You know, like, oh my gosh, you know, like, but you know, the truth was, I was really, really happy. It felt really, really good. And I'm going to take that. I'm going to think back to that moment actually to hold on to that feeling of happiness. That's going to help me bring me back to that. Okay, so you know what? We're going to go ahead and we're going to pull the fortune cookie for the collective now, because I want to kind of change up the energy before I talk about any of the other stuff that I've been through. Because, you know, I had to come back to reality after the conference. Okay, so let's see what they have to say for us. Which one do we want to pick? This one or this one? This one. Okay. All right, what message does the collective need to hear? What message does the collective Before you can see the light, you have to deal with the darkness. It's kind of funny considering the rest of what I was planning on talking about. Okay, so as most of you know from watching any of my previous streams, all right, I am dealing with an abusive relationship right now, basically. Okay, so being in that toxic relationship, you know, some of the things, it's just like you want to find the way out, right? You want to find the way out. It's like literally becomes like all you can think about, because I'm like, I have to figure out the lessons, you know, like I'm ready to face whatever mess it is that I have to clean up and do what I have to do to get myself out of this, because this is a lesson, all right, that I have had to go through, and I have failed before. I have failed it hard, okay, to the point where the last narcissistic relationship that I was involved in, I married this man. And, you know, see, the thing is, okay, and I'm going to share some of these details right now. And I know in the past I have shared a couple, like tried to do examples, but a part of me kind of holds back from the worst examples of it because it's so painful and embarrassing, really, you know, to admit that I'm dealing with someone who would say and do such things, you know. So anyway, the last time I had dealt with this type of toxicity, it ended up killing my heart. As many of you know, if you know my story, like it ended up killing my emotional being. being able to feel anything other than just numbness, you know, like pain, suffering, misery, like stuck in those kind of low vibrations. Like the life becomes like unreal in a way that I can't even explain to someone else who hasn't like been to those depths before, you know. And it took a lot. It took a lot to open my eyes up to what I've been through and to pull myself out of that. And y'all know, like my soul braid walking experience. Okay, like that was the thing that saved me and awakened my ability to feel again. And I stopped and I was even thinking about this a lot recently. I was thinking about, well, it started with me thinking about music. It started with me thinking about all these songs that I love. Okay, all these heart songs that I've had in the past. You know, and I've noticed now that when I go back and I re-listen to some of them, it's like they change. You know, the way they hit changes. You know, I'm trying to figure out like what was that change that happened that makes the song hit differently now, you know? Because some songs stay the same. Some songs, every time I listen to it, it get, you know, it keeping it better, you know, more of a like a great good feeling inside, like excited, like love this, you know, can relate to this. And so I just noticed like what is it that's changed, you know? And then I just started to think about some of my experiences. Like it just stood out to me. Something just stood out to me so hardcore, you know, about the fact that before my soul braid walking experience, before that moment when I started working on my heart and bringing my emotions back, okay, like it doesn't even, I don't even know how to relate to that person. It feels like there's some kind of divide, okay, like I can only feel with the memories beyond that point. You know, and I had someone asking me a lot of questions about my walking experience, so that's part of what was bringing this to my mind too. Okay, so I'm just trying to explain it to people because I'm thinking like maybe you're still questioning. Have you had that type of experience? Have you had, you know? And I just noticed that from this particular moment, that I it's like I was a reborn child almost. It feels like I do not, when I look back and I think back, and I still have access to all those memories, okay, of my life before that, as Cassandra, my life before that, okay. But it's like watching a movie. It's like looking at a movie, and yeah, you can empathize with that person and you can put yourself into their, you know, empathetically put yourself in their shoes type of thing. And so I can draw from that. I can bring back the memories of it. I can bring back like, okay, this is what I told my, like logically, but emotionally, I don't feel that connection with that part of my life anymore. And so knowing all the work that I had to go through to get back to here, and knowing that I'm in a situation right now as dangerous as the one that brought me to that state last time, you know, it's really had to force me to be like, okay, so I have to figure out the lesson. I have to figure out the solutions. I have to do something differently because I know what I did. I know what I didn't do last time. For one, I didn't take it seriously. I didn't understand it. I think I wasted so many years just hoping and praying that this person would eventually change and be the person that they said they were going to be, and be the person that they could be, you know, for those short periods of time where they come back and they're love bombing you and they're wanting to make it up to you, you know. I just kept thinking like there's got to be something. If I just behave some certain way, there it's going to magically open their eyes and make them see. And so one of the biggest things that I had to finally come and accept, where I found this new YouTuber basically, and during, you know, these moments of thinking about all this stuff, and I found him, and he said some things that really, really, really hit home, and it has to do with what I was just talking about. And I'm going to mention it in a second. But I just happened to come across this guy by chance. Well, because, you know, they recommend this stuff to me now, you know. So this guy stood out to me, and he literally used examples to describe the stuff that I've been experiencing. He used these examples, these metaphors and stuff that I had already been using in my own mind and tried to explain to other people in similar ways. And it was like one of those moments where you come across this information and it's like just the right time, and like a bell gets rung inside of you. I call it the heart bell, the bell of truth and resonance for yourself. So I'm listening to this guy, and one of the first solutions that he says, and I'm going to go over, actually, I have some stuff written down. I might go over some of what he presented because it was just so helpful. And it was different than all the other YouTubers about narcissism. It was different. Okay, first of all, this guy's energy actually really reminded me of Anthony from Canadian Awareness, if you guys know his channel at all. Okay, he's like a real, like, no bullshit kind of guy. He really tells it like how he feels it and sees it, and it's like pretty amazing because it's courageous and it's bold and it's truth, and you can feel those truths when he talks about it. And the same thing for this YouTube guy. I think his name was Richard something. I should write these things down before I come on here. I apologize, guys, but you can definitely message me or comment below if you want to know exactly what it was or who it was. So one of the first tips and solutions that he gave, because like I said, guys, like, I made a post on, I had no internet here. Okay, here's the shitty thing about the conference. I'm just going to tell you, shitty thing about the lodge itself is that they do not have service. If you have Sprint, T-Mobile, I think Verizon also didn't have any. Okay, if you had AT&T, you're good. You're golden. Okay, but you know, and it can be a hassle because you're just trying to hook up with your friends and stuff too, and you can't even send a message, and it like takes for like it's just crazy. So I make a post on Facebook about how my internet's finally back for the first time in a week, and of course, the person I deal with immediately starts in. Like, I didn't even get like a day break to just like ease back into the situation that I'm having to deal with. You know, it was like immediately right on top of me. Okay. And I realized, you know, that I had to really figure out what it is that I'm going to do. You know, I needed to find some way to hope. And so, or I needed to find some way to pull myself out of it. Okay. And so this guy basically says the first solution he has is give up hope, and grieve the relationship. Give up hope and grieve the relationship. So these people already know what they're doing. You know, that was one of the first tip. Was it a tip? Was it the, hold on, let me pull it out here. And I didn't, and this was really what was puzzling. This is what was leaving me in that limbo type of state, is just wondering these things, like how much do they really understand? Isn't there some way, like they have to do, is it just that they have to want to understand? You know, like what is it that determines a narcissist who is willing to go to therapy and get help and try to heal from it? You know what I'm saying? And someone who just refuses to see it, refuses to acknowledge it, or does very little in a very phony way. You know, what is it? Okay, so real quick, guys. Okay, so yeah, it was one of the 5 mind games that they play. And this was and it was just these two things. These two things just really brought me some kind of peace and closure. So maybe it can help any of you out there that may be going through something similar, because there's so many narcissists out there nowadays. That's the thing that I've had to come to realize as I was thinking about my walk-in experience and how much I've grown and how much I've changed. Like, I'm literally a different person now than I was even 2 years ago. And I'm a different person. So I forget where I was going with that. I'm sorry. I tried to pull it back. Something changed me up. All right. Anyway, so this was about, you know, the thing I'm wondering is, like, how much do they know? How much do they know about what they're doing? Are they just, you know, is it for real? Like, I can't imagine someone could just sit there and pretend the whole time, but that's exactly what he says. He says the biggest mind game that they play is pretending they don't understand when basic morality, basic societal norms, just basic cultural mores. Like, that's what this guy says. And it made so much fucking sense to me. And it was like, boom, it like hit in. Okay. Oh, okay. So how do I put this to the test? Okay. Because that's the thing. You need to be able to use it and put it to the test, right? So that's exactly what I did. I put it to the test. So that, and there's going to be another opportunity where this person comes at me and attacks me, obviously, you know, and it's like living on walking on eggshells. It's, I'll get into the boundary thing in a second. So the opportunity came, you know, where they cut me down and belittled me about something, to basically implied I was stupid, about where I had placed something. And I just didn't even fight back. I just didn't even fight back. And I went outside and continued doing what it was I was doing. And it drove this person crazy for me to refuse to talk to them about it and refuse to go into it. Okay. Because I mean, the only response I could give them was like, sorry, I put your item away. Like, well, what else am I supposed to say to that? Sorry. Like, what else? Anyway, that's besides the point, because they came outside and they started going at it and they started trying to attack me and get me riled up, get me emotionally riled up. And I just didn't. Okay. Because one of the biggest things that you can do, one of the biggest things a covert narcissist wants, or narcissists in general, is they want your emotions. They want your emotional reaction. Okay. So this is a thing I have to exercise on. Not only do I have to be firm in who I am, this is a muscle. This is how I'm getting strong in who I am and how I deal with abusers out there in the world, because there are so many. And that's the part that, okay, I think I remember now where I was going with that other thing. I had to wake up and stop being naive about, just because my heart's intentions are a certain way, just because I think and behave in a certain way, doesn't mean that I'm always going to attract that. You have a bright light. Okay. Like, what is it? Like, what do lights attract? They don't always attract good, beautiful things. So I had to really wake up to that. This person could be hiding themselves from me. Like that, they could be, hiding themselves. Just because I'm showing myself doesn't mean another person has the integrity that I have about being open and honest. Okay. So I had to stop giving them the emotional reaction. All right. That's the biggest thing. That's the most helpful thing. And it, like I said, it's a muscle. You're going to have to exercise it. It's not easy because they know your triggers. They know how to poke. They know how to fire off that adrenal system. And the best thing you can do, I know I gave some advice on this, I forget how long ago it was now, but to not go into thinking badly towards them. It's so easy to want to. It's so easy. And not only that, but as an empath or a psychic, if you're a telepath and you're getting their thoughts, or you're feeling the things that they're feeling, it's hard to separate yourself from the way they behave. You start to turn into them. You start to behave like them. You want to show them what they're doing to you. But that's not going to help it. It's not going to change it. It's just going to make you feel bad about yourself in the long run. So this is really helping me rein in my my own ways that I could react back that could be considered abuse. All of us can act these ways at certain times. So I didn't give in. And later on that evening, I got a message where this person basically apologized for doing the very thing that they did. Okay, for the ways that they talked to me, for they judged me. They apologized for it without me telling them what I was upset about. I never told them. I said, I'm not explaining. I just plain as that. I'm sorry, I'm busy right now. I'm not explaining. There's no point in explaining. You don't want to hear it anyway. You don't care about it. I've already tried that. I've already tried that one. There's, I'm like, you know what you're doing. You know exactly what you did. And this message proved to me that that was the case. They knew exactly what they did. So, yeah, give up hope and grieve the relationship. The other thing that I realized that they were doing a lot is that they know how to poke holes in your boundaries. That was the biggest shocker for me, was that I kept feeling it. I called it hooks. I think I've told you guys several times it felt like hooks going into my back. Okay. But it's actually they're poking holes in your boundaries. And what happens when, this guy gave an example. I used an example of pool water. This guy used an example of an amoeba. Okay, so I'm just going to tell you a little bit of both. For me, the way I was seeing it was that we all have our energetic field that is like we're carrying around a pool. Okay, our own bubble of water that's, we have to keep it clean, keep it chlorinated or whatever it is that you do in order to keep that pool water clean. And then you go and you get in contact with someone else's pool bubble. If there's not a firm boundary there, all right, the pool waters are going to merge And let's say someone has a shitty pool water. Let's say they haven't taken care of it, you know, and they've not stayed in time, and they have all these negative thoughts and negative emotions and vibrations and stuff like that. And they're putting that out there into their field. What's going to happen? You know, if you don't have boundaries that are firm, you know, the good water is going to leak into theirs, you know, which is like your time, your attention, your love, you know, and then the nasty stuff that's in their water is going to leak into yours. And so the guy that I was, you know, watching this video on, he basically said something very similar, and he made a little drawing of it. And he's like, imagine you're an amoeba, you know, and every time they make a dig at you, you know, and they start erasing the dots, he's like, it makes those holes in the boundaries. So one of the things that I've had to really come to terms with is like, what are boundaries, and how do I make sure I stay, you know, keep those firm and keep those solid in order to help me survive and get out of this until I can get out of this. Okay. And not have to deal with this anymore. Okay. Because it's not like I can get out of dealing with it. I can't. You know, they say going no contact is the best. Not everyone has that option. Not everyone has that option. I certainly don't. Okay. Like, I have to clean up the mess. And I truly still do feel like the universe put me here in order to become strong in this way. You know, the mistakes that I made before was that I never, I let myself get broken. I let them isolate me. I let them take up all my time and energy. And, you know, I stayed with my second ex-husband. I stayed with him for 7 years as he put me through some of the worst things that I've ever experienced. That, but most people wouldn't be like, look at it and be like, oh, like as when someone like physically hits you and stuff like that. It doesn't look like that from the outside. It's very, very different. And they really do push your buttons because they want those emotional reactions. They want that. That's what they live and feed off of. That is their narcissistic supply. And if they can't get it from you in good ways, bad ways is certainly just as easy for them to take in. And it's literally what I live. It's like if, and the thing I was comparing it to when I was going through it and feeling it is that I really feel like someone is sucking my life force energy out of me, like leaving me exhausted, leaving me exasperated, taking me in these circular arguments that are non-productive for hours, cutting and making sure that I can't sleep. That's one of the biggest ways that narcissists break it down, by keeping you awake. Okay, and this person, absolutely, if I like, and it's hard because you just want so bad for this person to see it, you know, like you want so hard for them to see it. And that leads me to the other explanation about the relationship. So the model that this guy gave for the relationship between two people, a narcissist and an empath, I guess if you want to call them, okay, is he called it the Dual Mothership model. And this was so eye-opening for me, for him to give me this example. And so that's why I'm going to share this here with you guys. Okay. And the example is basically, it looks like this. It's two bubbles. Okay. One's you, one's the narcissist. Okay. When a narcissist and another person get involved in a relationship, they enter what is called a shared fantasy. Okay. Like the shared fantasy, which he actually was saying, like, to a certain extent, all relationships do this. Okay. But it's different when it's an adult to adult relationship. This is not an adult to adult relationship. You enter into this relationship as a parent and child. Parent and child, parent and child. One's going to be the rescuer, someone else going to be the victim. Okay, like that's basically what you, now I didn't realize that's what I was agreeing to, but I look back on it now and I see it, because I was seeing it. And I kept saying, this is really weird. I feel like, why does it feel like I have like he wants me to take care of him like I'm his mother. He wants me to love him unconditionally as if I was a mother loving a child. So that means like he can say the worst, most meanest things that he can say. And I'm just supposed to, and he's just, a simple sorry is it's fine. It's over. You know, you can get over it. And but then just do it again. And again, it's like someone hitting you and you're like, you know what, that really hurts. Could you please not do that? And they hit you again. Oh, sorry. And they do it. And then they do it again. And they do it again. And it's like, you know, eventually they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. The person that they are when they're being mean to you is who they are. That's who they are. They just, And that's the thing that I didn't want to accept and believe, because people who are good people, people who are good people feel guilty and they feel bad, after the fact, especially if you had any sort of reaction that made you not behave in your best ways. You're going to feel guilty. You're going to feel remorse. You're going to feel shame. You're going to want to come back and you're going to want resolution. They do not want reconciliation. Reconciliation to them means no more emotional reaction supply. If we were to make peace, that would mean no more narcissistic supply. Okay? So what does he do instead? He dangles over my head anytime he doesn't like something. Anytime I'm not giving him those emotional reactions that he wants, he comes at me with the whole, remember, I own the house. Remember, I own the house. So watch what you do. And I'm not exaggerating when I say it's like almost every day. It is almost every day now that he does this. He holds this over my head. So I have to find a way to overcome it. I have to find a way to strengthen myself, to strengthen my boundaries, to strengthen my faith that I can find the solution and the answer. Okay. In order to, in order to just maintain my health at this point, especially for my children, because it has gone transferred to my children now too, which is the thing that really whoo, boy, what do you think you're doing? Listen, with 6-year-old, giving them a hard time. What is wrong? It's because mentally, emotionally, narcissists have arrested development. So they are younger in that way. So I basically am doing my best to give as little time and attention to it to this person as possible, because I can't trust them not to. If I open a dialogue, I can't trust them not to go right into something, to make the digs, make the jabs. And when I started behaving in this way, I knew it can get worse before it gets better, and it did. And I'm hoping that it doesn't get even worse, but you never know at this point. As far as the things that they say and whatnot. And that made me feel so much better, honestly. Pulling myself back in that way, it did make me feel immediately a weight lifted off my shoulders and lighter. I control my time and my attention. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to do my best to be civil still. I'm still civil, civility and respect, definitely. But I'm not going to give more than because I end up getting exhausted. And that's the thing. If anyone's ever experienced this, it's the weirdest freaking thing. It leaves you with no physical energy, emotional energy at all to do anything else. For me, I get stuck in freeze mode. And I can't do anything. And then they want to hold it over my head again. It's like, oh, you need to make some plans. Obviously that was always the plan. The plan was always, I do my healing, I do my work, I figure out how to make a career, and I find a way to make a way for myself. That was always the plan. It was never supposed to be conditional, but that's the thing, they lied. Okay, so he lied to me about that, and I wanted to believe the best in people. I wanted to believe that there was more, that he could find his connection to God. That was what he said he wanted from me, was that I was going to share my tools with him, okay, and help him find the connection to God that he saw me have and that he wanted to feel. And I couldn't look down on him for that, of course. We want to help. We're here to be of service, and we want to be of service. And it makes me feel like a disappointment. It makes me feel guilty, because back to the dual mothership here, okay? The only way to get yourself out of having this happen again, basically what he was saying, is that you have to break that shared fantasy. Okay, which that's another reason why I really like this guy, because he helps you identify what your responsibilities are. Okay, because I don't want to just feel like a victim. I'm not a victim of this world. I walked into this, I did. I walked into this situation, and I wanted to take back my power. And so he says you have to break that shared fantasy, and that shared fantasy was that you see the best in this person, like a parent does a child, and that's what they did. They idealized me as something to a level that I could never live up to, even though I kept pointing that out to them and saying that to them. I'm like, you realize, I'm like, I do not want you to put me on this pedestal you keep putting me on. I am not perfect. I make mistakes. I have, things that I go through. I like all humans do. I just want that to be considered. I just want to be seen for who I really am. I don't want to be seen as this, oh my God, you goddess, wonderful. Like, yes, I want to feel like one. I want to feel like a goddess, of course. I want to feel respected and loved. But I don't want people to put me on a pedestal where it creates this vertical relationship, okay, where someone's got to be better than the other person. If I'm up here, then you're down here. And then when this person flips, when they've been doing this for so long, they flip. Well, now they're going to tear you down because they got to be on top. All right. Okay, so I'm going to see if there's anything else that I wanted to mention about it. Okay, so I'll just briefly mention these things. Was there one more thing? Hold on, wait. About the Dual Mothership. One second, guys. Oh, yes. This is the last big thing I want to say about that part. Is that it can feel like, and this is what makes it so hard, and this is why, especially if you fell in love with this person, okay, which I didn't, okay, like, did I love this person as a human being, as someone, like, did I respect them as a human being too? Like, did I want the best for them? Like I do the rest of my community, absolutely. But I didn't ever fall in love with this person. But so that's what can change it up a little bit and make it harder for other people who happen to wander into these types of relationships, is that the chemical bond when you fall in love with someone, okay, the chemical hormonal bond, all right, is it lasts for at least 3 to 4 years. Okay. And on top of it, being in a narcissistic relationship, that can create an addiction to the hormones and the chemicals too, of the adrenaline and stuff like that. And so when you go to break it off with this person and go no contact, it can feel like, because it was a parent-child relationship, it can feel like a mother abandoning a child for both parties. And what is that going to feel like? Is that going to feel good? That's not. It's anguish. It's anguish to feel like I failed and I let someone down that I really wanted to help. And not only that, but they betrayed me. They betrayed my trust. They abused me. They hurt me. They hurt my kids at this point because of it. It's hard. It makes you feel just shame, the shame that you wound up in this position and you walked into it. You thought you knew better. So this has been a big wake-up call for me. This is like the next stage in my growth and development as a human being, from kind of a naive child, okay, to waking up to what it is that we're really dealing with when it comes to the world and people in it, and what this world has bred through how they behave and treat people. It's just bred it. But so the 5 mind games were basically pretending they don't understand. Okay. Deflecting. The second one was deflect and attack. Okay. It's the what about you method. Okay. Which I guess they used in Soviet Russia, which was like anytime someone criticized the government, they would say, well, what have you done? What have you done? I have this whole list. What about this time you did that? That's, and so now they're bringing up something else that it probably isn't even that bad, pretending it's bad or just making it up. And then they wait for you to have that explosive response, because what is the natural response for people to want to have when they're being told they're being attacked about something that they haven't done, or, like you're going to like be like, why? What are you doing? And then that's how they get you, because now look, you are acting like the crazy one. That's reactive abuse. When you react back with normal emotions from being attacked or whatever it is. Okay. And that's how they get you. And that's why learning to curb your emotional responses is so hard. Like, this is really being a training and getting control of my emotions, which I let, a lot of us, we just let them run rampant wild. So the third one was deny and distract. So they'll say they didn't do that. They didn't do that. And they're like, well, if you say, well, I caught you on tape, here it is. I didn't, like, we have proof. Oh, no, that wasn't me. No, we actually have unannounced proof. Well, what was it again? Oh, you didn't take it like I meant it. I have that one get played on me a lot. Oh, I didn't mean it like that. It's like there's literally no other way to take it. There's literally no other way. And that's the gaslighting. It makes you start to have self-doubt. And now you're like, and that was the hardest part for me. And what has finally clicked in for me this past week is like, okay, I know now. I feel it. I know this is what I'm living. I don't have to convince anyone. I don't have to convince him that that's what's happening here. I know what I'm living. I know my reality. I'm going to overcome this gaslighting. Okay, so they'll deny it and then they'll distract. So no, I didn't do that. And then, what about this other thing over here that they just get you talking about something else? They'll poke a pre-existing trigger that you have that they know, because they know you. That's what they do. They study people. They listen to get that ammo. Okay, and so now you're arguing about the thing that they brought up that triggered you, instead of focusing on the original problem. And it was just so crazy because I was naming all these things. I was naming them, and I just kept doing it and thinking, like, that's insanity. Doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result. I got to stop that. So number 4 was psychic reading, they call it. It basically is telling you what you did and why you did it at the time, at times that they couldn't possibly know. Like I had the narcissist I deal with, I had him basically more than once try to tell me that I haven't changed at all in the past however many years or whatever. Like literally, he was serious too, trying to say that I have done no changing at all for years and years. I said, how could you know how much I've changed? How could you didn't know me before this time period? So how can you tell me I haven't changed? You literally didn't know me. Or when or coming home and telling you, implying that you did nothing, implying that because they see you sitting down now, or because on the weekend you sit down and you relax because you're busy all week, that you don't do anything. Things that they could not possibly. You do not know what I do with my time. You are not here to see. But that's part of what they do. They pretend like they know. They are convinced. Okay. And then the last thing that they do, the last one, was called reframing. Okay. It isn't what we are talking about. It's about what, oh yeah, that's what it is. Okay. Where this one is where they basically, if you're making a point in an argument and you're putting something out and they're like, well, this isn't even really about that. This is actually about your mother wounds. Like, okay, guy. And they do often try to mirror back different things that they've picked up over the years, that they've seen other people with true empathy have, like ways that they respond, and they try to mirror it back in just ways that you'll just notice it just comes across like it's just not, it's gosh, it's just it's comical. It's sad and it's comical because it's like, and it can be pretty painful too, because it's like you're just trying to do a tit for tat. I see what you're doing. Like I have brought up something that needs addressed, an issue, okay? And now you're taking that, what my point was, and you're trying to use it about something that I've done in a way where that isn't even anywhere near the same, and you're basically comparing apples to oranges. Like, what is that? Okay, then. So ultimately, you need to reframe what you're dealing with. You're not dealing with another adult. Okay? They're not speaking and acting in good faith. And there is no point. The point is only to get emotional reactions out of you. The other tip he gave was abandon sincere communication when it comes to communicating with the terminally insincere. That was what he coined himself. He was like proud of that statement that he made. Okay. Because truly they are only interested in getting that emotional reaction to create anguish and exasperation so that you will give up and submit. And that is quite frankly what I have absolutely been experiencing. And stop telling them how you feel. Okay, because this just gives them ammo. Come back to yourself. You need to come back to yourself. Remember who you are. Pull back the parts of you that you gave out. And ultimately, like I said, grieve. Like, that's the thing that I'm going to start doing now, and I have been doing it, and that is exactly what I've been experiencing this past week. Not only grief from coming to a clearer perspective of reality that I'm dealing here, but also grief from the fact that the healthy people that are in my life are so far away and so distant, and you know, we all can't be in a small community together. Like, it's hard, guys, but I wouldn't give it up for the world. I'm so happy to be alive and to have made it this far and to be learning my lessons and to feel some real, like, even though that relationship and stuff has no hope, like, I feel hopeful. I feel really hopeful that I can do this. And even though I know it's going to take months of work on myself to do it, I am determined and I will pull myself out of this. And you guys are going to watch me go through it because I'm going to keep doing my live streams. And if that's what has to be done, then I will walk you guys out with me. And I will show y'all exactly how it's done. Thank you, Emily. Love you, girl. Okay. All right. So now that I went through all that heavy stuff, and thank you guys for being here and just listening to me, for real. Like, this is so helpful to me. You know, I don't want, like, thing is I don't want it to be all to the point where it's all consuming right now for the most part. Okay. Which just changes the whole experience that I've been living for so long. And so it's not, I just don't want that to be the only thing I have to talk about when it comes to talking to my friends and my family. I don't want, like, oh, like, now I have this, oh, guess what now happened? Guess what now happened? Like, here it is again, you know, because it feels so helpless. It feels so, it just does not feel right. And so doing this and doing these research and talking about it here, it really gives me a space to feel like I have somewhere to get it out. I have somewhere to place this down and be heard and be seen for a little bit here, you know? So thank you guys for being here. Thank you for listening to all that. Definitely hope it helps some of y'all out there, because empaths, man, if you're here, you're most likely one of those. So I don't think that people are attracted to people by accident. I think the only reason that you found me is because you too are a special magical creature here on Earth to have a human experience, you know, and to know what it's like. Bring your alien frequencies, your galactic family members' energies here to the planet. Okay, so let's take a deep breath. We're about to do the tarot spread. Okay, I'm just gonna energetically pushing all that stuff I just talked about out. There we go. So now we're gonna ask that Spirit give us a message about this next week's energies. Tell us what we need to hear. Okay. So what message is it? Oh, no. Tried to get stuck. I see everyone's writing a lot of stuff. I'm sorry that I was on such a roll that I really couldn't stop and read the chat. I will totally read these messages though afterward. I do go back and check them out. Okay. I do see the names popping up and flying by though. So hi Greg. I don't think I said hi to you either. And light salt for soulfire. I'm sorry. I'm soulfire. I'll just call you that. Nice to have you here, guys. Let's shake that off. Shake off what it was we were just talking about. One last one. This is the last one. right now. I feel it. All right, what message is it that we need to hear? What do we need to hear? Here we go. What is it we need to know? Most energies for next week. Whoop. Got it. All right. So we're working. We're making progress. We've taken up that chisel and, you know, we got part of the window done here. So this is the Three of Pentacles. All right. This has to do with something that you're building, something that you're working on. This is the card of the Apprentice. Okay. This is also saying, though, that, you know, it's kind of just begun. It's like the church is not built yet. You know, if this guy is building a church, the church is not built. He's just started working on it. It's only a little bit done. It's like I always kind of, when I see this card, I feel like a finish line. It like shows me like a point A to point B. If you're creating something that's your goal, well, you're at like the very beginning right here. Okay, and you still got all this ways to go, but you are making real progress and you are doing real work. It has to do with grounding and stability, like really creating something in the world. Since the Pentacles are Earth, the Earth sign. Okay, so let's see what else. So you are creating something. Tell us more. Tell us more about the Three of Pentacles. Okay, and then we got the Six of Cups. Okay, so this is looking pretty good. Okay, so what is the Six of Cups? The Six of Cups is an opportunity for healing, emotional healing, childhood trauma and childhood wounds healing. You know, really going back and doing the work. And you know, in this particular card, it makes me think of like reminiscing, you know, which is kind of what I was talking about earlier about, you know, thinking about how the different person that I am, and how differently that feels, and how the songs hit differently, you know, like really going back and looking at all those things, kind of re-examining that childhood, and maybe in a reminiscent kind of way, like, oh wow, look at that, you know. So this is like doing that work when it comes to healing those past traumas. Okay, so we got those two things. We got doing this work, we got being an apprentice, you know, just starting the job here at this opportunity of healing childhood wounds. Okay. Lastly, what else do we need to know? What's the last part? Let's play the last part of this. Okay, wow. We got my favorite card, which is the Star. Well, one of my favorite cards, I would say. Probably my favorite, but anyway, I digress. The Star card is a major arcana card. So again, this is a big like stop sign, like, hey, pay attention. Okay, because you are in alignment. You are in alignment with your mission and what you're supposed to be doing. All right, the Star card is slow change, but guided change. Like your spirit team has your back. Okay, and you're going the right way. Like that star up there, that's the compass, right? Okay, if you just keep following it, then it's going to take you where you need to go. So have faith. Okay, ultimately, I think this is saying that the overall energies of this next week is that you are doing the work. You've started something new. You've picked up that chisel, and you're carving your way into this new creation, this new way of being, this new life. And you're doing that through childhood wound healing and fixing and breaking those old cycles, those old patterns, and really examining your emotions about how you feel, about like what makes those triggers happen. Like the things I was talking about earlier, like the triggers that they have to use, they couldn't work if you had that wound healed up. So they're picking on a wound that's already there. They're showing you where they're at. you know? So use this as an opportunity to focus on why those things trigger you at all. Right? And you're going to be guided. You're going to be guided by spirit. Have faith. You are walking in the right direction. You are walking the right path. And you're being led. You're being led. So follow it. So I think that's ultimately one for that tarot deck. That's going to be one reading we do, right? Now we're going to get out the other one. Hey, Geraldine. Nice to see you. Mm-hmm. Thanks, Hope. She's going to walk it out with me. Yeah. Teamwork. Yes. Oh, and hi, Chastity. It's you. Yeah, this kind woman was so nice to make sure that I had a ride back to the airport. So I just want to say, give her a shout out and say thank you so much again for being so nice to drive me. It was kind of last minute. So let's go. Let's do one more spread. Thank you for staying up for me this late, Queen Victor. Thank you so much. Okay, and Geraldine. Okay, so. Ask that you please assist me. Please let me know what we need to be aware of. Oops. Okay. Almost there, guys. Oh, thanks, Queen Victor. Okay, so let's be done. All right, here we go. What message is it that we need to hear? What message does the collective need to hear for next week? Okay. Give us a message for the people. Okay. We got the 5 of coins. This guy has shown up quite a few times. I'm trying not to hide my fingernail, guys. Sorry. I'm not trying to flip you all off at the same time. So we got the 5 of coins. This guy shows up quite a bit. Okay, this is a card of ultimately, I think it's a card of rejection. Okay, feeling like you're on the outside. In this particular case, in this card, the characters on it are, her name's Dr. Gross, and then the other character's name is Tiffany. And Tiffany kind of has been looking for her place in the world for a while now, and Dr. Gross kind of came along and said, hey, you know, I have this job for you. You'd really, you know, you'd fit in right here. You could just be my assistant. But it meant, and she was, and the thing was, is that it meant, though, doing things that were immoral to other creatures. So she kind of got taken advantage of, which she did, you know, wake up to that eventually. But that is the story of the people that we have here on this particular representation of the 5 of coins. Okay. So this has to do with, I think, like I would say, stability, you know, trying to think of what else comes to mind. Like loss, you know, sadness, things that make you feel like you're outcast. And traditionally, it also can mean like being homeless, quite honestly. You know, losing something like that, being just put out. Okay? Having lost your place, so to speak, is what I'm getting. Okay. So let's keep going, though. Tell us more about this 5 of coins. Feeling displaced. That's another one that comes to mind. Feeling displaced. All right. So tell us some more about this 5 of coins. Yep. Okay, we're there. All right, we got the Seven of Swords. Okay. The Seven of Swords. Okay, so as you can see, this person is walking off with some swords here. They're leaving two behind, but they're walking off with these ones. Now, are they stealing them? Are they their swords? You know, whose swords are these? You know, this has to do with the mind. Swords have to do with thoughts and the way you express yourself, communication-wise, body language, things like that. All right, so ultimately, you know, what are you bringing to the table? Perhaps you need to be very strategic. This is a strategy card to me too. That's the other thing. It's a strategy card. Okay, you need to be aware of what it is that you're sharing and what it is that you're not. Like, don't share everything. You know, you can't. Strategy. You know, it could also be a sign that someone else is being deceptive with you. That maybe someone else isn't sharing everything with you, but they're coming across like they are. Like, the face is kind of a weird face, but it kind of feels like they're, you know, this character actually was very sneaky like this. All right, this was one of Jake's children in the show, and she just liked to get in trouble just because. Like, it wasn't because she had some specific goal or intention with it. She just liked to be mischief maker, a trickster. She's a trickster being. Kind of, it reminds me kind of like a Loki type of energy, you know? So, like, oh, look over here. Oh, don't look over here, though. Look over here. Look over here. Oh, that person's doing something over here. All right, so that kind of energy. So, okay, let's go with the last card here. Tell us the last bit of information we need to know. Okay, hold on. Yeah, okay, here we go. What is it? What is it that we need to know? Okay, tell us the last part of the message. Yep, tell us. Okay. The Page of Coins. Okay. So the Page of Coins. Now, this is a card of page. It's a page. So this is someone who is not fully developed yet when it comes to this area of coins, I want to say. Like, because, for instance, I mean, this character, Cinnamon Bun, all right, he kind of is, like, he's not as educated as the rest of them in the show. All right, but he still has a, you know, a purpose and stuff like that. But he just, you can tell the whole way through, he's kind of like just thinks like a child. All right, but in this particular case, he's got like some little doll that he's holding up. That's supposed to be the coins, representing the coins right there. The Page of Coins is someone who's very lucky, actually. You know, they have something that's they have something that is of value, you know, and I'm really trying to pull it. Like, what has me thrown off right now, guys, is this character, this card. I don't often come across this card. Okay, I'm trying to think of what else. Like, the thing can be, though, is that they don't know what to do with it. They have this thing, they have this, like, thing of value, but they just don't know what to do with it. They don't know how to use it properly. There's someone who can have really good beginner's luck. Okay. I'm really almost drawing a blank here, guys, for this one. So, to sum it up, we'll try to bring it back around here. To sum it up, we got the Five of Coins, which is someone who's feeling rejected and outcast and could possibly be a little bit in a very disadvantageous place. Okay, like leaving them open to possibly having not the greatest character come along and snatch you up. Okay, and perhaps this character is someone who is being strategic with what they're sharing and what they're not sharing. Okay, and maybe holding on to having something that is important and of value, but they don't know how to use it. They don't know how to use that thing that is of value there. Okay, because they're still young and learning. Yeah, that's all I got for this one, guys. I'm sorry. I like the first reading better than that one. That's okay, you know, you win some, you lose some. I just have to relook up that character a little bit better. I didn't know Cinnamon won as much. Yeah, actually, Cinnamon does end up finding his own place, actually. It's in the Fire Kingdom. Ends up being of value there. Okay. So, thank you all for joining me today. I hope that everyone found some use out of it. I'm trying to remember if there's anything else that I want to say before I get on out of here. You know, I think there is one more thing that I forgot to mention, or that I was thinking about earlier. And it was just that, you know, when the last day at the lodge, I'm going to end on this, guys, so don't worry, I'm not going to keep going too much longer here. But the last day at the lodge, okay, I was there on the Friday. The conference ended on Thursday. And when it was all cleared out, okay, I felt so lonely. I felt so sad, like, because like you could still, I don't know, it was like everyone's gone now. All the people I love and care about are gone now. And I kept running into, you know, people here and there as they were leaving. And it just literally felt like a piece of my heart was with all of these friends and family, like these soul family, as they were going out. It's like, oh, pieces of my heart. They've left. They're gone. They're all spread out now. And it'll be a year till, you know, unless there's more conferences, it'll be a year till we all get together again. Yeah. So that's the place I'm at, guys. My heart is with all of you. A piece of me. And I truly love and appreciate that you guys come here and you share your time with me. I know how valuable it is. And so thank you for choosing to be here. Seriously, you know. I think that's it. I love you guys. Yeah, I feel like I'm having a hard time even getting the words out about how the feeling of what it feels like. I don't have, like, I need the right proper word for what that feeling is when you're around the people that you love so much, you know, that you really connect to. It's just so hard. Oh, yeah, mine too, Greg. Mine too. Yeah, empty-ish. Yes, exactly. Yes, because that was, yeah, because as I was, the piece of my heart, it's like it left me feeling so empty, just empty inside afterward. Like, oh my gosh, I love you guys. I love you guys. Yeah. But yes, contentment was definitely one of the ones I was feeling when I was there, for sure. Totally content within my group of people. And that's how I feel here too, with you guys. You know? And so I was so glad to come back here. And, you know, I was going to go yesterday. I was going to go live yesterday. I just couldn't. I had too much going on, so I couldn't do it. But then today I was even kind of struggling. So, like, I've mentioned this before. It's like hard for me to, if I take a break, it's hard for me to really push myself back out there. But I did it. I forced myself. I was like, no, like, I know I feel better after I do these. Like, I know that what I needed from that feeling of emptiness, I needed to be with my family again, my soul family. And that's why I was like, it's important for me to do these. It's important for me to do these streams. You know? Yeah, you got it. Yes, my son actually told me that it's a real thing, that it's called post-conference. I think he said it was post-con depression or something like that. Like, it's a real thing, guys. So, all right, I've kept y'all here long enough. What time is it anyway? Is it 8:35? Okay. So we've been on for a little bit. Oh, Chris, hey you. Thanks. I appreciate that. Post-conference blues for sure. Okay. So, and now I must bid you adieu. Can use it as a fan, right? All right, bye guys.
I will see y'all next time. I don't even want to leave. No, I'm not doing it. Yes, I am. Okay, I'm leaving. I gotta go. Bye. Mwah. I love you.